This podcast is powered by As Always Entertainment. If you enjoy this content, consider becoming a patron over on patreon.com/asalways. Other than to support this show for just $1 a month or more, you get access to over 50 exclusive episodes of the Kill Connor Clubhouse podcast that release every week the Kill Connor Club podcast isn't on. You also get a week's early access to the Spoilercast show, the Cinema Room, and plenty of cool perks such as being part of polls for future videos on our channels, as well as other early access material. With that said, please enjoy the podcast.
Hello all you film connoisseurs and welcome back to another episode of the Cinema Room podcast, powered by the great people at patreon.com/as always. I'm one of your hosts, Tyler, joined once again and as always by James.
As always, how's it going?
Yeah, good man, good. And for the first time in the history of the long history of the Cinema Room podcast, we have a guest. And that is a good friend, Brett, or UB Central. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you for having me on episode 5. I am the fifth pillar, so I'm honored to be here.
That legit makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes so much sense accidentally. So if you don't know, the Cinema Room podcast is a spoilercast podcast where we go over films, TV show seasons, video games, in full spoilers. And today's episode is about Captain Marvel. So if you haven't seen Captain Marvel, don't listen to this because we're going to spoil the entire movie. Go see the movie, then the first thing you do when you get out of the cinema before you even get to your car is download this podcast on podcast services and listen. But of course, it's also available 1 week early exclusively to patreon.com/as always. So for just $1 a month, you can be a sweet vintage lad. Get exclusive podcasts like Kill Connor Clubhouse and a week's early access to this podcast. So to thank a few of those sweet vintage lads, obviously we have our Patreon producers that make this happen. That's King Richard III, Ikraik, Seth, and Josh Devillier. But to thank a few of our other sweet vintage lads, again, that's King Richard III, Ikraik, Seth, Ballsack47, Josh Devillier, Damian, Billy the Team Tynamite Captain Robertson, Tman Travis, Casey Wood, Tony the Tarbiter's Pasty, Denis, Adam Sundling, Alfie Rowsell, Jamie the Gamer, Smexy Dork, Lumistrad, Mario 5380, Hook still holds up. I love it. I love it. Viridian, Pink Flame 313, Arun Win, Ollie The Dane, Fat Fuck Cuck, Nawaf M, Brendan or BQ Overlord, Ravjai, Julie, Prudhvi Muvva, Oscar, Benedict Parker returns, James and Lad, Connor Durose Bully in the alley, Zahir, Jean, Zeke Collins, Son of a Bitch Ogeaidogo, Lauren Ford, Dammit Glenn, Furious Coco, the ACMJS, Delta R. Rodriguez, Kyle S. Jaws, Kyle Marvel, Marcus Blackburn, Emil Katborg, Joshua Mora, David Bindis, Ginko Swag, Kimasabe Gamer, Yazen, Joe the Sexy Boi Smith, Elstico91, Joe A.K.A FoundedScarab, H-Barts 12, I Got Lumbago, The Real Jaw Raptor, Omar Kurosagi, Alfie Rodbert, Brian Ford, Shields, Fishy, Andrew Martinez, Lewis the Gamer McLean. Long list. Thank you, gamers and film connoisseurs, for helping power this podcast. I'm a bit sick. Just finished my work week, so I'm fucking dead. So I apologize for me sounding like shit. But anyway, Captain Marvel. You guys have finally seen it. We talked the other day. I'd seen it. You guys hadn't yet. We'll go through everything, but first things first, Brett, overall, what'd you think? Are you happy with Captain Marvel?
Yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I went in expecting it to be sort of somewhere along the lines of Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I would say it's a little bit better than those movies. I had a fun time with it. There is definitely some problems, but yeah, just overall, I enjoyed my time with it, and I wasn't disappointed.
Nice. And James, how do you feel overall going in?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty similar. I think I went in expecting it to be pretty average. You know, I thought it was like, it's a Marvel movie, it's gonna be a good time. But it's I think it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I think maybe that's because it's been a while since there's been a Marvel movie, and because it was a decent Marvel movie, it was like, that was good. I really enjoyed it because it's, it's getting back into the MCU. Maybe in a couple of years we'll look back and be like, yeah, it was a bit like Ant-Man and the Wasp, one of those movies. Because there was nothing special about it. It wasn't incredible or anything like that. So maybe could have done with, maybe some of the writing and stuff could have been a bit better. But at the end of the day, it was a fun time. It was a fun Marvel movie. Had some good moments, some good laughs, and it added something good to the MCU. So yeah, I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, nice. I probably feel the same. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was great. interestingly, maybe I still think it's maybe around the realm of Captain America: The First Avenger and Ant-Man. I think that's where it's around that area in terms of rankings for me. But that doesn't mean anything's right, because I love those movies too. I love Ant-Man.
I love every
and I
MCU
love
movie, yeah.
Captain America: The First Avenger. So like, it doesn't really matter as much where you rank it, because I love all of them and I still think it's great.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I went in again. Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. I went in with average expectations. There's things I liked a lot. There was some slow points in the movie I wasn't that fond of. And I mean, overall, it wasn't really the most, I guess, standalone original MCU film in terms of, I've never seen anything like it before. You know, everything in it I'd seen before. So it was just, you know, some nice nostalgic fun with some elements they've thrown in from past MCU stuff. It was a good movie, and it's a nice little appetizer, I think. I think it's a perfect appetizer, in fact, for Avengers Endgame that comes out in just over a month.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I guess we can get into more details heading in now. What did we think with the start of the movie? Like, right at the start, the first sort of shots, we have... what's her fucking name? Carol? That's her name, right? I just want to make sure I get this right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Carol's on the ground. She's got the blue blood coming out of her nose. And, you know, she's kind of having visions of the past. These dreams. And, you know, you set up straight away that... And you kind of knew from the trailers that, she doesn't know her past life. And she's now... in the Kree War, what's it called? Starts with H. What's the...
Holla?
Holla? Yeah. Holla. That makes sense. Yeah. So she's in Holla. She's training with Jude Law.
Yeah, Jude Law, the actor, yeah.
Yeah, the actor Jude Law is also a Kree. We didn't know that. Yeah. It's a conspiracy theory. Yeah. Vampires from the fifth dimension! No, I can't have the voice for it now that I'm sick. Yeah. They're harvesting our unborn babies' organs! And,
Jude Law is doing that, yeah.
Yeah, Jude Law's doing that. Facts. And logic. No, so she's training on Holla, trying to get better, and she's kind of like, she has to go see what's the mind, the Kree's like, mind, hive mind?
Is that what it's called?
Supreme intelligence. I'm sorry. I'm losing all the names and the facts here. James, you want to take over this star bit? Like, yeah, what happened? What happens?
I don't remember the movie. Of course I remember the movie. I don't remember the order, though. You're probably way better at this than I am. I would be like, she was at Earth at some point, right? Coulson was there.
Yeah, fair. I'm terrible at remembering the names, but I do remember, like, the order of films,
yeah, I can chime in with the names. You just give me the plot.
Okay, I'll give you the plot. But pretty much the first part of the movie is she's kind of this witty, smart-ass character that kind of wants to do what she wants to do, and she doesn't really respect the authority of like her team. She's like, no, I'm doing it this way. You don't have to do it this way. And she doesn't really understand taking orders.
Yeah.
And they don't try to make her like... I mean, the fact is it is a very feminist film, right? Mm-hmm. Especially in the sense of, you know, it's made a point of like they're not trying to make her like, because Brie Larson's a very attractive woman, and they don't even address like there's no guys swooning over her. There's not like someone hitting on her really at any point ever, except for
there's that one guy on the motorcycle.
One scene on Earth. Yeah, that motorcycle guy. Yeah.
That was very on the nose and obvious to what they were doing. There. Yeah, sure, okay, I guess.
Yeah, and. They just kind of focus on her as a character in terms of her, I guess, stubbornness, her wit, and as well as just, obviously, the thing that surrounds her characters, you know, not remembering dick about anything. But there's no dicks involved, though, but I don't know why I said that.
Not remembering dick about anything.
Yeah, not remembering dick. Yeah, she doesn't remember dick. Not into it.
That's
which is okay. It's 2019. It's 1995 actually, so maybe it's not as okay. But anyway, I'm digging a hole here.
What is going on?
Yeah, so she doesn't remember her past. Is essentially the first part of the whole movie. What were you guys' thoughts on her as a character, like from the start? Because it wasn't really what the vibe we got from the trailer at all. It was sort of a very different type of character than maybe I expected, to be honest. I don't know what you guys thought.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, I noticed towards the beginning, I was like, oh, she makes a lot more jokes than I thought. Like, there's a few quips in there. You know, it's a Marvel movie. You gotta have the protagonist make a few little jokes here and there. But I quite like, to be honest, the way they did some bits, because so that first part of the movie where she's with her team, the Kree team, and they go to that planet and they're there to, what was it? It was, I don't know, something about they were getting one of their guys out or something from the scroll control or something, like he was there like as a prisoner or something. There was that section where they're all like giving a plan and stuff, and she's like trying to be like, oh, I'll do this, and then Jude Law's like, no, don't do that, come on, we've got to plan it, we've got to stick together and do this. And I quite like that they didn't do the whole although we find out, you know, later on in the movie at the end that, you know, all those Kree are arseholes, which we knew from the beginning because the Kree have always been arseholes in the MCU, but I like that they didn't just make it because this woman is trying to be all like feminist and everything. It wasn't just like Jude Law told her to do something and she does the opposite and then she wins because she's a woman and she didn't do what the man told her to do. It was like it made
kind
like
of does is what happens at the end though. But yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like at this point, it made sense the way that they did it, the way that, you know, it was like everything went to shit on its own, and she sort of just, I don't know. I felt like it was written pretty well at that point. Obviously, there's some points where it sort of falls a bit, and it's kind of like they focus more on the she's a woman, let's try and empower that, than they do actually writing a story that makes sense. But for the most part, I thought it was written pretty well, and it served more character and narrative than it did the whole. I don't want to say the word agenda, but you know what I mean.
No, I get what you mean.
For me, I like the whole space elements and stuff. That's why I like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's so much different from Earth. So I loved all those colors popping off the screen. But Brie Larson, the first half, I didn't really like her character that much. Yeah, she was telling a lot of jokes, but they didn't really land for me until she was with Sam Jackson. And I don't know if that's just because the chemistry with her team wasn't as good or the jokes weren't written as good. But for me personally, her acting wasn't as good until we got to the second half of the movie. There was that fight scene where the Skrulls had her, and I really liked that because she couldn't use her powers. She didn't know what was going on. That was a really good fight scene. And when they're on that planet too, I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, they're trying to extract that guy out, and I really like that entire scene as well. It's cool that the Skrulls can like shape shift and everything, but again, at the end of the day, if you're a Marvel fan, you kind of know that the Kree are the bad guys. So yeah, that twist just wasn't as interesting for me personally, but I still think they did it all right. Her losing her memory is kind of a common cliche in movies, but overall, I still like they did it all right. It wasn't anything special, but it did the job.
Yeah, I think I agree. It was interesting. I like the whole the memory thing. Like, I mean, it panned out the way I think I probably expected it to, but I kind of liked the semi-mystery that was there. Although I sort of knew where it was going, and I was pretty much right. Like, I was like, this all makes sense, it all adds up. I quite liked it, though, the sort of the way it was done, the way it was like, oh, she doesn't know a memory, what's going on, what do the Kree want, what do the Skrulls want? It's interesting, and how does she tie into all this? I think it was interesting. It wasn't incredible or anything, but it was interesting. It wasn't your basic Marvel movie origin story, but I quite liked that stuff. But I think I agree. I think first half of the movie, I don't think. Yeah, I think although she was telling the jokes, and I kind of got the idea they wanted us to think she was sort of like this sort of, you know, witty, you know, sort of jokey character. I don't think it came across that way. It honestly came across kind of a bit more annoying than anything else. But second half of the movie, I liked her a lot more, and I'd be really interested to see her, especially in Endgame, and then in future movies, seeing her returning will be like, oh, that's cool, I like this character, and we're seeing her again. So that'll be interesting to see what they do in future movies.
Also, before I forget, I just want to mention that Stan Lee intro was amazing.
Oh, we didn't do it. Yeah. How can I forget about that?
Yeah,
that was great. The Stan Lee bit was great, and it was nice. I would like to see that in Endgame as well, to be honest, especially with how important that movie is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I really hope, because Endgame is such a bigger movie than Captain Marvel, it's kind of a shame that like Captain Marvel. It makes sense why, because I mean it's the first movie. Yeah. But I hope same that they do with Endgame, but who knows?
Yeah. I hope so too.
Well, I think this is a movie of two halves, to be totally honest. I loved the space stuff at the start because I loved the Guardians movies. Guardians are up there with my favourite aspect, if not my favourite part of the MCU, is those movies and that sort of side of the universe. And that kind of includes the Thor sides as well. So I loved seeing that. Like, that to me got me in straight away, was all the space stuff and the space adventure and the battles they were having. So I was in. But the first half wasn't as strong. The second half was so much stronger than the first half, like so much stronger. But it was more because of like, yes, the space stuff got me in. I wasn't quite into the character yet, but the first half of the movie that's on Earth as well, just was a little flat for me. It was just all stuff it was lots of the trailer stuff, right? Like the chase on the train, the blockbuster scene, the Sam Jackson introduction, all that stuff like was all predictable, all stuff we'd seen before, and was mostly all in the trailers as well. That was most of the trailer aspect. So I wasn't as into it, and they were trying to throw things in there like, I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, that facility that they go into to try to find Marvel, that was the Avengers facility in the first Avengers movie, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not the Avengers facility. In the first Avengers movie, I thought that was that facility that gets destroyed by Loki.
So that's where like they had the Tesseract and stuff.
Yeah, that's where I thought they had the Tesseract and everything.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, it could be. I never actually connected that.
Because I remember, because I saw it with my brother, and I turned to him, I'm like, is that the facility in the first movie? He goes, yeah, I think so. I'm like, okay. It just looked like it. Maybe I'm just totally wrong.
Did we see it from the outside, or did we just sort of underground?
No, it was more of like all the underground tunnels look the same, and I was like, is that what they're trying to do here? Is that what they're trying to say?
Don't they build all their facilities the same, though?
I don't know, dude.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was. Okay. It might be, but I didn't think that.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make a big point of it. That's just what I thought.
I think if they wanted to make a point of it, like if it was, I think they would. I think they would make a point of it. They'd be like, look, it's the place. But
yeah,
maybe in the 90s.
Yeah, but in the 90s,
so
how crazy.
The same, but maybe slightly different.
Yeah.
Got baggy pants
I don't know.
on.
That's just what I thought. But definitely, Sam Jackson was so great in this. Like, he's Samuel L. Jackson. He's great in everything. But I just thought he definitely helped.
Get you into it, sort of thing.
Get me into it. But it didn't save the plot of the first half of the movie. Like, we were still kind of like, oh, who are we? And I'm sitting there like, we know already. You know what I mean? Like, so it was kind of like, I just found that first Earth section kind of, there wasn't much character in there for her anymore. Like, they tried to show a bit of her character at the start, and I was like, yeah, I'm in. The space stuff, I'm in. Then the Earth kind of sapped away her character a bit. Some chase scenes that were okay. She was great in all the action scenes and stuff. Like, that was all great. And, but yeah, I don't know. What did you guys think of that first kind of half on Earth where they're going into the facility, the blockbuster stuff, the train chase? Like, I was into it, but I wasn't that into it.
Yeah, it was just sort of fine. I think I liked Nick Fury. I thought he was great, and this is the thing I kept noticing, or I kept sort of asking myself as I was watching the movie at different points. I was asking myself, if Nick Fury wasn't here, would I be as into this? Would I like Captain Marvel as much? Would I like his character as much? Like, and for the second half of the movie, it was like pretty much all yes. I was like, yeah, if he wasn't here, I mean, Nick Fury's great, so not having him here wouldn't be as good, obviously, but it also would still be good. I'd be like, yeah, I like this character. This is a cool movie. There's some cool scenes. I like the relationships and all this stuff. First half of the movie, though, if Nick Fury wasn't there, I probably would like it a lot less.
Yeah, I agree.
He needed to be there, really. But yeah, even that didn't sort of save it. It's very slow and a bit boring, to be honest, the first half. Once you get past the space stuff, which I think compensates for it a little bit. But
Yeah, and there was a couple of really nice scenes in the first half, even so when they were getting chased in the facility from Ben Mendelsohn's like human character, and then they run through the like staircase, and Coulson sees them and lets them go anyway.
Coulson.
Yeah, that was so nice.
God, I love Coulson so much. That was a great scene. I was like, yes, Coulson, yes. Amazing.
And I was like, that's a Coulson move right there. That is a Coulson move, to know what's really truly right and do that in
Classic
spite of the
Coulson.
consequences. Classic Coulson. What a great addition. Then we kind of, I don't know if I can put my finger on exactly where this movie really picks up. It's probably when they get to the best friend's house. That's when it picks up for me. Because all of a sudden we're really diving back into the character of Captain Marvel again, getting a bit more into the history of it, and that's when kind of the plot twist also happens, where we find out that it's the Kree that are the fucking assholes. We find out how Carol got her powers from the Tesseract, essentially, or not the Tesseract itself necessarily, but the Tesseract's energy that was in this
Light
speed drive. Yeah, light speed engine drive that blew up. And then, Jude Law, the actor, gave forget his fucking name. What's his name?
Yonrog.
Jude Law, the actor, gave Captain Marvel like his blood and stuff like that to make her.
Jude Law, the actor, also shot Marvel, the Kree scientist.
He did also shoot Marvel. Didn't really give a fuck about her, to be totally honest.
No,
she was given no screen time.
No.
Yeah.
He's more of a plot device than anything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And yeah, so we get that plot twist, and but you've also kind of got the vibe that the Skrulls, especially at this point at the house, and Ben Mendelsohn, main Skrull. What's Ben Mendelsohn's Skrull name? Do you remember?
It was
I don't remember.
Talos.
Come on, bro, this is your
something.
one job.
Talos? Was that
Or
it?
something.
It was
you
Talos.
can't say or
yes,
something,
it was.
because
No,
then I
it
don't
was.
believe you.
Hang on, I'll Google it. Talos, Captain Marvel. I bet you I'm right. Yeah, it is Talos.
Talos, it is Talos. So Talos, fucking Yonrog, what a shit name. So Talos, was kind of making a few jokes there. I was like, fuck, Ben Mendelsohn's funny. What a great actor. By the way, best performance of the whole movie, I think I can say safely, was Ben Mendelsohn as Talos.
I agree. He was very good.
Yeah. He stole the movie for me. He was amazing.
Yeah.
But he's great in everything.
I want to see him come back. Put him in Endgame.
Yeah, that'd be... Oh, no, I mean, just Captain Marvel 2. It's fine.
Well, put him in any movie, but imagine he was in Endgame.
Or, like, Guardians or something.
He could turn into Thanos.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Okay,
don't listen to
maybe
James.
not,
Yeah, don't do that. Anyway, Talos made a couple of jokes about, it's like, I just want to talk. And it's like, then why you kidnapped a girl? He goes, fair enough. Like, yep, that's a good point. And then they have the discussion and they show, and they make all those 90s references of the computer loading. And it's like, why is it so slow? And he's like, it's loading.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I had a good laugh at that. It's like, that 90s.
Still like that in Australia, though, right? Whenever you try to connect to the internet.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah, that's sad. I cry. But yeah, so you get that plot twist. You get the reveal that it was, Jude Law, the actor, that was the bad guy, and the Kree that was the bad guys, and the Skrulls are actually this, I guess, disenfranchised group of people that are oppressed, and they didn't want to submit to the Kree's rules, so the Kree destroyed them. We didn't get a lot of history of background to either of these races, though, in this movie.
You're just kind of thrown into the war. But they do kind of talk about just, it's a war that's been going on for so long. But yeah, I liked how the Skrull, they were just trying to find their family. Like, that was their main motive. They didn't want the Tesseract. They didn't even really care about anything else. Just they wanted to be reconnected again. I do want to quickly go back to that train sequence. Because during that, Samuel Jackson, crashes his car because there's a Skrull in there. And then his eye's all damaged. and they make it seem like, that's how he got the eye patch. But yeah, then we later find out the real reason, which was pretty stupid, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. We'll get to that. But when you have that plot twist and you find out, well, the Skrulls are the good, Kree's bad, and you kind of set up, okay, so this is why Carol becomes sort of Captain Marvel, this solo, individual hero rather than a part of this Kree team that she's been in. To me, that's where I picked up. I don't know about you guys, but where were you guys at this point of the movie? Were you like, okay, cool, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're kind of getting into the meat and potatoes of this film.
No, I mean, I definitely agree with you. When they go to her friend's house and, the scenes with the daughter as well, just pulling up pictures to try to make her remember her past. I think that's where the movie did start to pick up. Samuel Jackson kind of got sidelined a bit, and that's where we started getting more Captain Marvel. And at this time, we were more invested in her character. So yeah, I definitely agree there.
Yeah, I agree. I also really liked Carol's friend. When they they go to her house, I actually liked her character a lot, and I think that gave Carol a lot more depth as well, because she talks about her past a lot. Is that her name? Yeah, that's the one name I don't remember.
Yeah.
And her daughter.
I put it up on Google. It is definitely Maria. I acted like I wasn't 100% sure. Like, I remembered, but I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked her a lot. I think that I thought her performance was really good. I was really into it when she was talking to her, when it was just them both alone, and they were talking about their past and everything. I was really into that scene, learning more about Carol's past, and I think it was done really well. I liked all that stuff, and I think that sort of gave us an insight into her more as a character, and I like their relationship together as well. So I thought that was really well done. That was a good part of the movie, and I think that's probably what brought me into it more, was after meeting Carol's friend and after being there at the house and everything and seeing all these characters together, and then I sort of was into the movie more. I was like, okay, here we go, this is great, and then it just sort of kept going, and it was good. It was good from that point on, I think.
Yeah, one of the things. Well, sorry, go on, Brett.
I was just gonna say, like, Brie Larson. See, I started to like her character more when she interacted with people on Earth, like Samuel Jackson and Maria. But besides them, I feel like her acting just wasn't as good with other people, personally. And
she's usually such a great actress. Like, I'm not... And I didn't... I thought her performance was great and everything, but I think she's a great actress in everything. Have you seen Room, bro?
Yeah, I've seen Room, but what else, though? Because I brought this up, and everyone else was like, yeah, but what else? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. But Room, though, was good, yeah.
She's... Well, yeah, I mean, she's incredible. Did she get an Oscar for that?
She did get an Oscar, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first thing I ever saw her in was 21 Jump Street. And, I mean, she's great in that, I guess, as well.
She's in Scott Pilgrim, too, but... Again.
Oh, she is in Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, she is. She is. She
was fine in this movie.
I've seen her in more than that, though. Like, she's not the main actress, but she's in other things. Let me have a look.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google her. Brie Larson.
Oh, yeah. So I've seen the Glass Castle.
Skull Island.
Yeah, things, yeah. Scott Pilgrim, 21 Jump Street, 13 going on 30. What the fuck? 2004. Who was she in that? Is that movie where the 13-year-old girl becomes 30? 13 going on 30. What the fuck? Mark Ruffalo isn't that? What the fuck? Anyway, who cares? Anyway, yeah, Captain Marvel.
I thought she was fine. Her acting was fine. I didn't think it was like stand out. I was like, whoa, she should get an Oscar for this. But I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. Like, it's good. Obviously. Convincing. You know what? Because I'd seen a lot of what Brie Larson had said about, stuff, political stuff, bullshit.
Well, I was about to say, did that affect you at all?
Well, going into it, I was hoping not, and it didn't actually. I think the performance was good enough that I didn't feel like I was watching Brie Larson. I felt like I was watching Carol Danvers' Captain Marvel, which is good. Because I was worried that as I was watching the movie, I'd be like, fucking cunt, like I hate this bitch. But I wasn't. I was like, I quite like her actually. So that was good. Okay. So she's a good enough actor that I liked her. So she wasn't just being herself. But there's that. Good. So yeah.
I think she'll definitely be better in Endgame and also just her sequel. It's just like origin stories are pretty tough to nail down. So it's just because it's her first time playing this character. So
yeah, it'll be good in the future. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing her in Endgame. I think she'll be great.
Yeah, no, I do too. I do too. And this is the thing, and I don't remember who I heard say this, but I heard someone talk about Captain Marvel. They said, look, the MCU movies after Phase 1 stepped up. They've only gotten better. Like, those Phase 1 movies were like, they're all good. They're all good movies that people liked, but they didn't have enough time to kind of tell us everything that we could about these characters to really, you know, get going with them. Like, they spent the whole time really trying to develop them, and they didn't have enough time to be like, here's the characters, you know these characters, now enjoy their adventure, sort of thing. It was when these second movies sort of came out, and the Avengers movies came out, that you're like, oh yeah, these characters are great. Like, you really got into them, and you really saw what they could really do. And this felt like a bit of a Phase 1 movie, to be honest.
Yes. Most of the origin stories do, like a Doctor Strange or like an Ant-Man 1. Like,
I don't know. I thought Ant-Man 1, Guardians 1 were
Guardians 1
like
is,
Spider-Man Homecoming, Black Panther. Like, Black Panther is a lot better than Captain Marvel.
Yeah, but Black Panther's not really an origin story. It is in a sense, but it's also not, because he's already been introduced. You sort of jump into his first real solo story, and more so than
and I guess that's the same with Spider-Man as well. But to be fair, like, it's not like they got a lot of screen time in their origin or introduction to the universe.
But like they're already set up basically. It's like he's a bloody man in a panther suit and he has powers. Like, just get on with it.
Yeah, but you don't even know the powers. But they still had to explain all that stuff.
They did, but it was a lot better though. It was a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's one of the better origin films. Like, I think the best intro films are like Iron Man, the first Iron Man, obviously.
Yeah.
Spider-Man: Homecoming, Black Panther, and Guardians. Like, those are, I mean, to me, the best, first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Like, that was awesome. Like, that, you know, whereas, like, yeah, Doctor Strange felt like a Phase 1 movie. Ant-Man, I liked a bit more than most of those Phase 1 movies. I think you like Ant-Man
more than you should, but... Yeah,
I do too, but I love Paul Rudd. Like, I think I love... Yeah, for sure.
He's not that good, is he? He's pretty good.
Nah, yeah, see, I like Ant-Man a lot more than most people. I'm definitely Ant-Man dick rider for sure.
Ant-Man's good. It's not that good, though. Ant-Man and the Wasp was significantly not as good as Ant-Man.
I wouldn't say significantly. It wasn't as good, but it was pretty close.
Was it, though?
I really liked them both, to be honest.
What was the villain's name?
Again, yeah, good question.
Yeah.
Exactly. Jude Law the actor. So Jude Law the actor. Yeah.
Jude Law the actor was the villain.
Who was Doctor Strange's villain? I don't know Doctor Strange's villain. Don't remember. I don't remember.
It was Dormammu. And
I've seen Doctor Strange one time
from Rogue One.
Yep. All right.
Well, it was.
Who's that? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember. Rachel McAdams, the actress. Yeah, I don't know. Dude, I don't know. You could ask me that with any Marvel movie, to be fair. I mean, the first Ant-Man, I remember, is the dude in the wasp suit. Yellow jacket, that guy, yeah.
Oh, is that the bald bloke?
Yeah, the bald bloke.
What a great villain. What a great, memorable villain.
It doesn't have to be about the villain, bro. It's a great movie. It's a heist movie. It was the first time I'd ever seen something like that in a fucking Marvel movie.
Was it a heist movie, though?
It was. What are you talking about?
Was it, though? I mean, like, kind of. But, like, also, it was just a Marvel movie that also contained a heist. It wasn't a heist movie. It wasn't like a... The
main climax of the film was a
Ocean's
fucking heist.
8 or whatever. I don't fucking know. It wasn't like... It was a... I mean, I guess, but it wasn't really, was it?
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know what you want from me. I know what you want from me, you fucking Ant-Man hater.
Back to Captain Marvel.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, back to Captain Marvel.
One thing I didn't understand personally was how Lawson or Marvell had the Tesseract. Like, they didn't really end up explaining how she had it, because didn't Howard Stark have it around? Or like,
Howard Stark got it out of the ocean after at
the
end of Captain America: The First Avenger. So we don't know what happened to it between that moment and the next time we see it in MCU timeline is in the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, Thor post-credit scene, but yeah, I guess.
Yeah, sorry, but that was just a scene from same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so it must have got stolen from Shield or Howard Stark. Same thing.
Yeah, but so where was it? It was on the ship, right?
Yeah, in space.
Yeah, so Marvel must have gotten it maybe from that facility where it was being kept, right? Because that's where Marvel was working.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I felt like they just could have explained it a little bit better.
Yeah, maybe they should. They probably should have explained that a little bit. I mean, it doesn't really matter though, because we know what happens to it. So, I guess it doesn't really matter how she got it. I mean, maybe it does a little bit.
Yeah, like now I just want to add. So at this point, when we get introduced to the Tesseract, people have complained about a few things in this movie that they didn't like, and you know whether you want to talk about Samuel L. Jackson's eye or just explanations for things.
I do want to talk about that. I do want to.
Then happen. Yeah, we will get to that for sure. There's explanations this movie gives to things. They weren't law-breaking. They all made sense. I'm not saying they were good. I'm just saying it's not like they didn't make sense. Like, okay, that's canon now, I guess. That's where it fits in.
Good,
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm arguing
what are
here.
you saying?
I'm saying that's better that it makes sense than breaking canon, which this movie did.
Yeah, but ideally just make it good, though.
Okay. Ideally don't break canon, which is what they did with the Tesseract. At the end of the introduction to the Tesseract, in Captain America, the First Avenger, Red Skull touched the Tesseract and he fucking went psycho crazy and fucking almost blew him up and like warp zoned space, and then he dropped it and it melted through the plane. And now you're telling me that they can... Now you're telling me...
Thanos held it.
Well, like Thanos... Yeah, but it's fucking Thanos. But now you're telling me... Yeah, I can accept that. But she put it in a lunchbox, bro.
Yeah, that's true. What's that all about?
She put it in a lunchbox, bro. It fell through the bottom of a fucking jet. Red Skull almost got... Red Skull did die. He got sent to fucking nowhere. Yeah. Because of the Tesseract. And now you're telling me... I get it that Loki can touch it. Fair enough. Thanos, yep. No, sure. Captain Marvel even. I'll accept it. But a lunchbox, dude. A lunchbox.
A lunchbox.
They just had it in a lunchbox that Samuel L. Jackson was carrying around at one point.
Yeah, that's weird.
That annoyed me the most of the whole movie. That's what annoyed me. Because I'm like, that's law breaking. The other stuff wasn't law breaking.
Did it really the entire time? But it was in a box at the beginning of Captain America.
Yeah, like at least made of stone. You know?
I feel like the reason it burned through that ship and everything is because it had like overloaded from being the power supply of that flying thing or whatever. Like it was sitting in the power supply and that it was like feeding power everywhere. And I feel like it overloaded and then he dropped it and everything. It was like, oh no, it hurts my hand. And then he dropped it and it burned through. And then maybe it settled down again. Because I feel like people held it in Captain America, right? It wasn't like... held.
No, they didn't. It was always in devices, remember? The only person that held was Red Skull. He's the only person that held it.
It was in that box.
See, I haven't seen the movie in a while, but both of you watched it recently.
I didn't watch
it. 3 times this year.
I recalled it from memory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've watched it like 3 times this year. So.
Yeah, that's... okay, well, I mean... How many times has the Tesseract showed up? It was in Avengers. And someone had to have held it in Avengers. Surely.
I feel like Nick Fury did in Avengers too. Like when the whole building was collapsing, he took it. I'm pretty sure and held it.
Put it in a briefcase.
Didn't it like cause like pain doing it? Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But that for me was like, what?
It was in a briefcase. Thor post-credit scene, and then in Avengers or whatever. It was in that briefcase thing. So
but it was in like a metal. It was in like a bulletproof casing.
So, it burned through a whole ship.
I don't know.
I feel like
I guess the most recent thing I've seen it in was the first Captain America movie. So I think maybe that's why I'm like, oh, that's what it does. Maybe I'm forgetting all the other times. I haven't seen those other movies in a while.
I think that's I always assumed that the reason it got all like burny was because it had been powering that ship in Captain America, and it like sort of overloaded and went a bit mental, and then it like did what it did. I feel like that's why, or maybe I'm just trying to explain something that doesn't make sense. I don't know, but that's interesting. Someone let us know, or don't.
Yeah. Or don't. Yeah, or don't. I don't care. Fine. They will let us know. People have already commented by this point, getting mad about it. Or, you're wrong, actually. Not really film connoisseurs.
Not actually film connoisseurs. Fuck off.
It's like, oh no, that's the worst insult you could say to me.
Imagine we are film connoisseurs.
Another thing that I didn't really like is how like Ronan the Accuser showed up. It's cool to see him, I guess, but then
he did nothing.
He did nothing. He just ran away at the end.
Weird.
That's
Weird
it.
choice. I mean, I get why they had to use him, because it would make no sense if he wasn't there. Because if you've got the Kree and you've got all these like warriors and everything, it'd be weird if Ronan just wasn't there. But also, he was a bit of a bitch as well. He's like, what? I mean, I get what he just saw happen. I get it. I would also be terrified if I was going up against that. But also, he seemed like a bitch, and he didn't
like
seem
the
like
Kree
that was him
calling
from
down
Guardians.
Like the Kree were kind of building him up. They're like, all right, she's here on Earth. You got to come now or whatever. And then he eventually appears and then disappears.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, that was disappointing for sure. I didn't really think too much about that. But I was looking forward to seeing Ronan, because I always liked Ronan. I thought he's an actual memorable villain in the MCU. He's not like top, but he's definitely one of the better villains.
Yeah.
So I was actually really excited to see him.
Yeah, but he was a bit of a bitch. Bit of a big old bitch.
Yeah.
Ronan the bitch.
Okay, well that's.
And he's not even a white male.
No, he's a blue
Yeah,
male.
exactly. Blue male.
What's he doing?
His fucking blue privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so we get to the ship though. That whole ending sequence, once we're on the ship, the Kree are kind of chasing after them. Captain Marvel's got her proper suit. Like, did you like the way they did the sort of suit and everything?
Okay. So this suit thing, right? I thought that the reason her suit would change colour is when she got her full powers, it would change the colour of the suit. It doesn't matter why, I just thought it would happen. I thought that'd be a really fucking cool moment, that when she finally gets her full powers, she like activates it, and then the suit changes colour. And it's like, sure, it doesn't really make any sense, but I don't care. That would have been way cooler, I think. Do you not think?
Yeah, I guess so.
I like
Yeah,
that
I guess
idea.
so.
I mean, I didn't really mind the way it happened. To be like, it could have been worse. Like, I started to like Maria and her kid, and their chemistry together. So it wasn't like the absolute worst. But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have made sense if she just got her powers and it changed. But I guess that would have looked cooler visually.
Yeah, would have made me happy. It would have been like, oh, that's
did you
nice.
Did you guys know, like, the chip on the back of her neck was a power suppressor? Did you think that the whole time?
Yes. It's
Yeah,
like with Thor in Ragnarok.
Yeah, see, it never really crossed my mind for whatever reason. It was Harlan next to me that goes, oh, it's a suppressor. I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I didn't really know what that was. I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
No, yeah, I
For
thought
sure.
that the whole time, yeah. I was like, oh, that's obviously what that is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it
Yeah.
wasn't as obvious to me.
I
guess
liked
I'm a
that,
fucking
though.
idiot.
The moment when she finally gets her powers and you get to finally see her, like that, it felt well earned to me. I really liked that moment when, you know, the whole movie she's gone. We've seen bits and pieces of her powers and she's had that sort of internal conflict, sort of ish. And then when we finally see her sort of unleash, you know, her full powers, I thought that was really earned, and I thought it was great. And maybe not earned for her, but earned for me, because I sat through over an hour of her not doing it, and then when she did it, I was like, okay, thank you. I'm happy that I'm seeing this now. And that was fun.
And during that fight scene too, she's like just moving all over the place, still getting used to her powers. So I liked how they kind of incorporated that into. She wasn't like perfect right away when she unlocked her full potential. She was like moving around the room, hitting a bunch of things by accident. So I like that aspect too.
Yeah, that was good. And that's going to be cool to see in Endgame as well, because she's had such a long time to perfect her powers and everything. It's going to be cool to see her, you know, way more powerful, you'd assume, which will be great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it was like that build up to, well, we've been told that she's the most powerful Avenger. I haven't seen it yet. She's obviously very skilled, but like, you know, someone goes to me, I didn't find what she did that impressive. I'm like, I thought when she got her powers revealed and fucking flew up to space, and then just stopped a whole bombardment of Kree missiles.
Awesome.
I thought that was fucking awesome. I was like, yeah, that is what. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Is it Thor powerful? Is it taking on a star powerful? It's not, maybe not quite, but it's fucking like, I don't know any other Avenger that's as powerful. Thor's maybe the only close one, but yeah, I don't know. I thought it was impressive. I was fucking impressed. I was like, oh shit, it's fucked.
I remember that moment. I felt similar to you know when Thor shows up in Wakanda and he just fucking mows everyone down. It's just so fucking awesome to see like how powerful he is. I kind of felt similar. Obviously not as much because I'm so invested in Thor and like we've been with him for so long.
Yeah, definitely not as good as that moment in Infinity War.
No, not at all. But
the universe is about to end. But yeah.
There was a similar sort of feeling though, just seeing her finally unleash her powers and just see how powerful she is. It was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. And so I can imagine
flying through 100 ships, like just destroying
so
them. It's
fucking
great.
sick. And like I can imagine there'll be more moments that are way more impactful in the future when we finally see her do shit like that or on a larger scale when we've been with her for a while as well. Where it's like, you know, people are in trouble and then she can show up and it's like, oh shit, like this is gonna be fucking awesome because she's just gonna fuck everyone up, which would be great.
Especially like the Russo brothers know how to direct action, so it's gonna be so good.
Yeah,
like, she has all of her powers and they know how to make good action scenes. So yeah, I can't like this just made me more hyped for Endgame. So yeah,
I agree.
When we get to the like ending with Jude Law the actor and Captain Marvel, there's kind of a section to it I didn't like because they kind of been building up that she was very an emotional character that didn't really think as clearly. And we saw that from the start with her just wanting to do her own thing and not listening to, you know, her superior officer, Jude Law the actor. And like the lesson from the start of the movie was, you know, you've got to learn to control your emotions. You've got to learn to do that. And, you know, you kind of thought at the end there, oh, is this the moment she's going to just show that she's, you know, can control those emotions? She uses her powers and just mows people down with them. It's like, no, she just shoots Jude Law and goes, I don't have to prove anything to you. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess so. I guess that's what.
But also, wasn't he a villain though? Like the point was, he was saying control your emotions because he's a cunt.
Well, there was something about him though that I still thought like he actually did care about her. You know what I mean? Like I don't think
maybe a little bit. Yeah.
It was. I think he actually did care about her as much as he was a villain. Like he did. He was upset. He killed that Skrull straight away when he found out she knew the truth. He wanted her to not know the truth. He wanted to use her. I think he did care about her. It was the others that didn't really like her.
I think I agree, but I also understand why she did what she did. It's because like
I understood it was more the line wasn't really the point of it, was it? The line was very like on the nose. Like, okay, I see what you were doing there. I don't have to prove anything to men, to a straight white man.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, no.
That was I'm not a person that really was like complaining about any of that shit. Some people were crying about the feminist stuff. I'm like, yeah, it was a feminist movie. Obviously it was. No problem with it whatsoever. That was the only thing. The whole movie, that was the one where I'm like, I guess so, if you really want to do it that way.
Yeah, there wasn't many of those moments, to be honest.
Not for me. People have found a lot of them for themselves, but you know,
and
some people wanted to hate this movie.
I see way more of those things than you do. I think you maybe don't care as much, whereas I'll point something out.
I definitely don't care as much. Yeah,
I didn't see many of those at all. So, you know, and that's me. But maybe that's because I just love the MCU, and so I'm willing to look past it. I don't know, but yeah, I suppose that moment was one of those moments where it was a bit on the nose, but yeah, maybe. And it was sort of, I mean, that bit was also played for laughs, sort of, as well, where it's like, oh, they're going to fight and it's going to be epic, and then she just shoots him and it's like, ha, funny, I guess.
But it could have made a cool action scene, especially since the movie started with them, you know, training. And he was saying, like, control your emotions. So it would have made it a cool fight, especially since she's so overpowered.
She just beat the fuck out of him and then used her powers on him at the end. Would have been cool. To show, like, that it's not just about her power, she is also just, like, badass, straight up killer. Like, even without him.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
That's all. But they went for the whole, no, I don't need to listen to a man or prove anything to a man.
I mean, she doesn't need to. to be fair. But
No, it's not really.
scene would have been cooler.
In the
No, I
context
know
of
what you're
the
saying.
film-
I'm joking. No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Go watch
Yeah.
So,
Stuart Little.
Cat
Fuck,
the goose.
Here we go.
Or Goose the cat.
Oh yeah, so let's get into the Samuel L. Jackson's
okay.
aspect to it. You've got this cat that's just kind of around the whole time. You're like, I don't really understand what this cat's
I
for.
knew
And
it.
then
Can
all
I
the
just say,
scrolls,
I
all the
fucking knew it.
What do you mean?
I knew it from the beginning. So the cat was in all the trailers, and then it showed up, and when it started to stick around, I turned to Elva and I was like, oh, I know exactly what they're gonna do, because Nick Fury said, last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye. And I'm like, he really fucking likes that cat. He's trusting that cat a bit too much. That cat's gonna get his fucking eye.
Wow.
And then it got his eye.
Well, this is the one that's definitely people didn't like a lot and have hated. I had no problem with it. It wasn't like it was some great moment, but like, I also didn't care that much about how Nick Fury lost his eye. Did it make sense? Sure. It's not an actual cat. It's an alien.
Yeah,
it's an alien
flirkin.
cat. It's a flirkin. It's not a cat. It's a flirkin.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I mean, it makes sense. It's not just a scratch from a cat. It's probably got fucking, like, you know, poison and shit in it or something, or some sort of venom. So I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And he really liked the cat and was trusting the cat. And I'm like, I mean, it's not like what you'd expect when he said, the last time I trust someone, I lost an eye. You'd expect it to be like something crazy.
The way that he said it, though, was like he said it like it was a poignant thing for him.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a retcon, obviously. But
Yeah, yeah, of course.
But the fact they made a thing of it, it's a bit weird they took that moment and then played it for laughs at the end of a movie rather than doing something with it. But then at the same time, I guess it was like, either you do it how everyone expected, and it's how everyone expected, and it does nothing to impact anything other than, oh, they did what I already thought was the case, or they do what they did in the movie, and it's sort of like, oh, it's quite funny and amusing. It doesn't matter to me, to be honest. Would it have been better if they'd done something else? Maybe, but I don't really care. Like, it was amusing and whatever. It doesn't take away from the fact that Nick Fury's a fucking badass and he's an awesome character. So I don't really care, and it makes sense. So whatever, fine. It's fine.
Also, the de-aging effect for him was so good. Like,
and Coulson as well. They
Yeah.
made them both look great.
They're both really
yeah, like
good.
I just like right away I didn't even notice. Like I just bought into the character. Like it didn't seem like it was CG or makeup or anything. It felt real.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I guess the other main... no, I don't want to get into that yet. I was about to jump into like the post-credit scene. No. We'll stick on this. There's still a few things I want to talk about.
Ooh, a few things.
Couple 1-2s. Now, overall, character-wise, from start to finish the movie, now you've got, you know who Captain Marvel is. Are you satisfied with what they've set up with her as a character? Do you want to see another movie with her?
If they never did another one, I wouldn't care. If they do one, though, I'll be looking forward to it. I think is the best way I can say it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and like especially I mean once we see Endgame and how good she is in that movie, I think that's when I'll start to want a sequel more. But as of right now, yeah, like I don't care if she gets a second movie. I'm not gonna like lose sleep over it. But I think after Endgame, it'll be like, all right, maybe I do want to see this character a bit more.
Yeah, like
I
definitely want to see her again. But if they never did another whole Captain Marvel movie, I don't think I care that much. If they said, right, this character's never showing up again, I'd be a bit pissed. But
yeah, that would make
sense. If it was like, oh, she'll show up from time to time, but she's not getting another solo movie, I'd be like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. Like, it wasn't that good that I need a sequel, but...
Yeah, sure. I just think it'd be better the same way, like, most other than The Dark World, most of the... I guess Iron Man 2 as well. I don't know. Maybe it's just a Winter Soldier where the sequels get better. Yeah, the sequels get better with, like, Winter Soldier. But I just think Marvel movies are better these days in general than the Phase 1 movies. So that's all I'm thinking more about is, like... feel like I'm sure now that we know a character, you don't have to deal with any of that. You can just have a good space adventure movie with Captain Marvel. Like, don't have to go to Earth again. You can literally just have a space adventure movie. That would be, to me, great. It actually sounds way more ideal because the Earth part was, you know, not as interesting as especially the start space part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, that's just me. But I was if I would like to see a sequel, and again, as long as it's like it's, a space adventure, don't have to deal with Earth, and I'd love one. And it can even be set in between the events of, because we see in the post-credit scene she has a totally different suit in Endgame. It could be the movie that's in between those events.
Yeah, that's what I was
there's
gonna
a lot
say.
of years. There's a
What
lot
do
of
you
years in
think they would
between
do in the
that.
sequel. Do you think they'll do one set after, like in between Captain Marvel and Endgame, or do you think they'll do one set after Endgame?
I mean, they could do one. It depends what the reasoning's for, right? Like, I think they could do one that's set before it, if it's kind of she's involved in something spatial later that then is going to come back in the future. Her sequel could like set up some major villain of the next Avengers movie, perhaps, that she's dealt with before but no one else has seen before, that she dealt with off in far reaches of space.
Potentially.
So
I think I think it depends on how big a part she plays in Endgame, because I think if she's got a big part in Endgame, she's one of the main characters, I don't think I want to go back to before. I think I want to continue onwards and see where she goes next. But if she's just sort of pops in for a visit in Endgame for like a little bit,
I think she's a major part of Endgame, but not like...
Yeah, I think
she's
so
not,
too.
She's not Tony Stark, Captain America main character, but she's definitely like... Her and Ant-Man are going to be key plot features of this. Like, they're necessary for how the plot's going to move forward.
I'm pretty sure Captain Marvel's a pretty big player in this, to be honest. Especially considering, judging from that post-credit scene, when and where she shows up. It looks to me like she's going to show up pretty early on, actually.
Yeah, I was actually shocked.
Yeah, so it was like, because I thought she'd come in last minute sort of thing.
Was there any major things you didn't like that they kind of paid off, like how they got the name The Avengers Initiative?
I didn't mind that.
Yeah, it was alright. I liked it because they played the Avengers music and it made me happy.
Yeah, I did. That's all they did. I was like, I don't like this, and then they played. I'm like, now they got me. They got me.
Yeah, had they not played that music, might have hated it. Maybe it wasn't a great decision, but who cares? It's still, the whole thing is still Fury's idea, and it's still like, it doesn't change anything, because I've seen some people talking about being like,
but how he got the idea was like, we need to find more people
Marvel.
like her.
It's like, it all adds up. If a lot of people, I think, are angry about this because they see it as, oh wow, they're changing everything about the MCU just based on feminism and everything. It's like, oh, because she was the first like female superhero, blah blah blah. They're like, oh, let's change the Avengers so they're actually named after a woman and like all this, but it's not the plot point that's the issue. It's people seeing politics, I think, where there isn't any, for the most part. I think that's why people are pissed off about it. Because imagine Captain Marvel wasn't female. It was just a regular... Like, no one was focusing on politics. It was just a bloke. And they were just doing that. It'd be like, oh, that's really cool. This really powered superhero that Nick Fury met, in his... a few years ago. He got the name based on that because he wanted to find more people like this superhero. That's really cool. Because it is actually quite cool. But I think maybe people are just saying... politics where there isn't any. Maybe there is some. Maybe they've seen politics where there is some, and I just don't care about it. But that's not really the point. I think it actually is quite a nice moment because it makes sense. Because it's like, oh, the name came from the most powerful superhero that came a while ago, and I think that's quite cool.
See,
I don't know.
That is a problem though with her next movie. If it takes place after Endgame, she has to face someone so powerful, but for that person, that villain that they use, I think they would be better suited for an Avengers movie, because she has to go up against someone super powerful if it's set after Endgame.
Yeah, where do they go with that? What do they do? Because when you've got villains you want to use for Avengers, but then you've also got villains you need for Captain Marvel, because Captain Marvel can't just fight like a, I'm trying to think of other villains. Like, it can't be like a Killmonger or like a,
no.
bloody other villain that I can't think of. Other villains. The one from Doctor Strange. I don't know. All the
it would have to be like a Loki, you know what I mean? Like,
it has to be like a big villain, like a Thanos, or like a, they have to be these big, powerful characters because she's so fucking OP. She's like the Superman of the MCU. So it's like, it's got to be someone powerful. But how do they integrate that? How do they do that? Unless she becomes an Avenger. But then you can't just do Avengers movies. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, in the comics...
knows.
What'd you say?
Kevin Feige knows.
I mean, yeah. I'm sure he does. But I assume Captain Marvel has villains specific to her in the comics. So
Yeah.
just pick one of them. Pick any of them. And do
But
it.
maybe
Do that.
those villains are like set again when she's starting to know her powers, like when she just got them.
It
Like,
can't
I don't know. Maybe
all
she
be,
does have
though.
one. That's
Let me get
Yeah.
Captain Marvel villains, and I'll pick the first one that I see. From the comic books, Captain Marvel comic villains. Fuck's sake, this is proving far more difficult to find than I thought that it would. Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, no, I can't find any. But do one of those. Do one of those. That'd be great. Thank you, Marvel. Epic. Okay. What else? What else have we got to talk about? Anything?
I mean, we've gone over most of the major plot of the movie. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we get in the post-credit scene?
Don't think so.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything. I just liked the whole Skrulls being able to shapeshift, especially one shapeshifted as Coulson. I really didn't expect that. Like, I thought it was just Coulson, and then all of a sudden,
I did like that you can't tell. Like, there's a couple of points in the movie where I'm like, oh shit, that's a Skrull, and you don't really know who to trust. I thought that was done pretty well. I'd like to see them do more with that. You could turn the Skrulls into villains in the future. Like, you could flip it. Maybe they've they've all got back together and they're just pissed off. They want to take their revenge, and it's like, oh no, now she's got to fight against the Skrulls. They were originally not the bad guys, but now they are. That would be a moral dilemma. But then she
because I mean,
them all up, so.
No one's perfect. I mean, like the
No.
Skrulls probably have some issues too. It's like, yeah, they were painted as the bad guys at first, but we already kind of knew that the Kree were bad. But both can be bad.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. They do something like that. Yeah, all right. Post-credit scene, Tyler.
Well, I jumped out of my fucking seat because when the post-credit scene went on, I'm like, it has to be a clip from Endgame, right? Like, it has to be massively Endgame. And it was. I believe that was just a scene from Endgame. That's not like specifically from post-credit scene.
Definitely.
So, as soon as, like, you see what Fury, the device Fury activated to call for Captain Marvel at the end of Infinity War, you see that, I'm like, oh, okay, here we go, they're analysing it. Who's analysing it? And then it goes up, and it's Captain America. I literally jumped out of my fucking chest. I'm like, it's my fucking boy! It's my fucking boy!
Hyped. I was so fucking excited seeing him and seeing all of those characters. It was so fucking good. I was like, yes. Oh,
it's my fucking boy, and I guess everyone else is there, whatever.
Yeah, Don Cheadle's there. Okay, cool.
Yeah, whatever.
The actor, Don Cheadle, the actor. Yeah.
Don Cheadle, the actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get the scene where they're all talking about, we got the device kind of turns off, and you're like, well, why? And we got to find out what's on the other end of that device, and then fucking out of nowhere, Captain Marvel's just there looking fit as fuck in a new suit. And she's like, where's Fury? And that's it. I'm like, oh shit. She shows up early. Pre-beard shave. She shows up. That's the level of early of the movie she shows up.
Yeah. What if she shows up early on, but what if she fucks off after that? What if they explain what's happened and talk about stuff? Maybe she goes off to find
and she has her own kind of storyline, same way.
Figure something
same
out.
way
Yeah.
Thor had his own
Maybe
storyline.
she is the one that saves Tony and Nebula.
Oh, I assume she is. I assume she's the one that brings him back. But yeah, that makes more sense that she finds out what happens and then goes to search for them specifically.
Yeah. And then eventually they all team up. They all go and find Thanos, and then they do a big epic fight, and it plays the Avengers theme really loud.
Yeah, the theme.
Yeah, and then I'm happy. They can do whatever they want. Anything can happen on screen when that theme is playing, and I'll be pleased. So.
There's a video I was watching yesterday of the Avengers theme goes with anything, and it's just major scenes from like other movies.
Yeah,
and then it just plays the Avengers theme, and it's like, wow, that fits so well.
Yeah, I was watching that. I got so hyped up over movies that I thought were bad, like Jurassic World. I was like, oh, this is awesome. No, it's Jurassic World, but it's still awesome. It was great.
Just have that music in it. Then the second post-credit scene is I expected to just be kind of shit compared to it's only downhill. Yeah. It's only downhill from that first one. What was I don't even remember. What was it? It was like the cat. Oh yeah, spitting out the Tesseract.
Yeah, throwing up the Tesseract. So it was like, he needs to find somewhere else for that Tesseract because the cat's stomach isn't gonna. Actually, Flurkins have the inside of them are like they have like dimensional pockets in them. I think in the comics.
Yeah.
So like it was holding the Tesseract in like potentially holding the Tesseract in like a different dimension inside of itself. So maybe that's why. I mean, Fury wouldn't know that, but maybe that's why he just let it happen. He's like, oh, that's all right. It'll be safe there. But that was fun. Yeah. Fun little goofy, silly scene, I guess.
Didn't that cat eat a few people as well?
I guess the main reason is like the last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye. He still has the cat even after it scratched his fucking eye out.
So he still trusts it.
Or he just needs it, I guess. But yeah, I mean, he's in his fucking office. Some level of trust.
Can I ask, why is Don Cheadle's character still alive? Why is War Machine still alive?
What do you mean?
Why wouldn't he be?
Because it's the original Avengers, but he's not in the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, okay. But what does that have to do with anything? He survived Infinity War. Same with Rocket Raccoon's going to be in Endgame, bro.
Yeah, he's not an original Avenger. Yeah. And Captain Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah, what are you guys talking about? Like, it's not just... all the original Avengers are alive, but so are Rocket, so is War Machine, so is Captain Marvel, so is Ant-Man. Like,
okay, but War Machine's shit.
Yeah, he's not great.
He's pretty good, though. I like him.
He's definitely an inferior sidekick to, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, Captain America has the best crew.
I don't know. Yep. I kind of prefer War Machine to Falcon.
No, you don't. Falcon's fucking awesome. Go watch Winter Soldier again.
Falcon's
cool. Way better.
Falcon's cool, but...
Don Cheadle just looks...
I just have the same suit as Iron Man. That's cool.
Yeah,
I just like him and Tony. I like their relationship.
Nah, fuck it. Falcon's way better. Way better. I just watched Winter Soldier again the other day, and I was like, oh my god, this is the best fucking movie. And Falcon's the fucking man.
They're doing a TV show of Falcon, aren't they? On Disney Plus.
Yeah, I hope so. Supposedly it's Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's the two of them.
Well, his name's not the Winter Soldier anymore. That's rude.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
I thought he was going to be the new Captain America.
No, I hope not. No, you can't replace Captain America.
Have you seen, that's been speculated, right? So you know that scene where you see...
It's been speculated for years.
Wait, no, not that. But in the Endgame trailer where you see Steve shaking and he's strapping on the shield, it's been speculated that maybe that's Bucky strapping on the shield. And, like, Cap died. And so he's strapping the shield on. And it's like, ooh. Could be cool.
I mean, no. I mean,
could be.
No.
I'm not against it. I'm like, that could be. I'm partially convinced. I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, I'm not mad at that. If that were a moment to happen, it'd be kind of cool.
No, that's cool. No, no, I wouldn't hate it, but like, you know, I'd just kind of be just sad and devastated and crying. So, you know, you can't ask me to deal with that yet until the movie comes out.
Yeah.
That's just me. That's just me.
Did we even talk about the post-credit scene just there? What the fuck?
Yeah, we did.
Did we?
Well, we are talking about it now.
We talked about our favorite.
I said what happened. I just said what happened, and you know, where's Fury? And you know, I literally broke down the whole scene.
What do we talk about then?
What do you want to talk about from the post-credit scene, James? What is it that you want? What did you want to say about it?
Nothing.
I didn't say any. I said what happened in it.
It's pretty good.
I said what happened in it.
What do you want to say about it?
And as well, I mean, we talked about like she's come in earlier than we expected her to come in. Remember?
Oh yeah, fuck me, I forgot we even did that bit.
Jesus Christ!
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I completely blanked that whole part of the podcast. Yeah, she's coming in earlier. What's that about? Oh, well, we talked about that bit too, didn't we? She might fuck off and go and do something else. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Thanks, James, for recapping what we fucking talked about. I appreciate that.
I mean, beyond that, that's about it.
That's about it.
That is about it. Yeah.
She's gonna be great in Endgame. Like, there's no way she can be bad. Her powers are there. She's had so much time to practice.
Famous last words. There's no way she can be bad.
There's no way.
There is a way. But with the Russo brothers, is probably not likely.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Do you think we'll get a one-on-one between her and Thanos?
I think you have to, don't you?
I'd love to see that. That'd be so fucking cool. That'd be great. Yeah. It's still like, weird to me that I don't really know how Endgame's going to pan out, and I quite like that. I really just don't see how like, there's so many different things I feel have to happen. I'm like, how do they do all these different, like, bits and pieces, and like, I can't see how any of it comes together, and I like that. I'm just looking forward to seeing the movie, to be honest. I hope we don't see much more of it, because I like what we've seen. Do you think we'll get another Endgame trailer before the movie drops?
Yeah, for sure. There'll be one more. Like,
do you think it'll be similar to the previous ones, or do you think they'll show a bit more?
I hope so. I think they'll show a bit more, but in the sense of it won't be like a lot more. It'll just be a little more.
Do you think we'll see
maybe
Captain
like
Marvel?
a little more? Yeah, I was gonna say maybe a little more Captain Marvel, like just.
Yeah, I think they'll probably put her in, especially if they cut her out of certain bits of the trailers that have already been in there. Like we discussed, there was one shot where there was room for another person. Who do you think was there? I think that's probably where she'd be.
It's probably her. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Maybe a little more Ant-Man and Captain Marvel focused, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
just
know.
like
but I think that's probably the accurate statement to make it a bit more Captain Marvel, esque, see a bit more of her. But that'd be about it. You'd think, right?
Yeah, I kind of hope we don't see any action. I kind of hope it sticks to what we've been saying. I don't want to see any like big fight scenes or anything, or Captain Marvel flying about or anything. Like, I kind of want to stick to what we've got, because I quite like where everything's sort of quite low key, like low key. I quite like that. So keep it like that, and the movie's coming out in a month or so. So
yeah, there's definitely be one like major trailer before.
There's gonna be so much to like just take in during that movie. Same with when Infinity War happened. Like you're gonna have to watch it like several times just because it's gonna be long and there's just so much stuff that's happening. And when you take it in for the first time, it's just you're glued to the screen.
Yeah, it's gonna be mad. So close though, so close after Captain Marvel. It's crazy. We're so close to the next Avengers.
Crazy.
It's crazy. It's always crazy on Cinema Room. Objectively, the best podcast.
Objectively, well,
that's said by us.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's Clubhouse as well.
No, Cinema Room is objectively the best podcast. You said it yourself.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
You
said
did.
That. You just said.
No, you said it last podcast.
Oh, did I?
Was it last Clubhouse? I think it's become a meme because I think you meant to say Clubhouse, but you said Cinema Room, and it was funny.
Fucking hell. Fuck's sake. What is wrong with me?
Epic. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. Really?
No, I mean,
that's basically everything.
There is a little more to say because we have community questions from patreon.com/, as always.
Is there anything? What do we have? Anything we haven't already talked about from these?
Let's go over them. So the first one is from Mark, and it's: do you feel like she will return in the so-called second generation as the so-called second generation Avengers, or will we see how Endgame turns out to say for certain? As in, like, will she, in the next generation of the Avengers, will she be an Avenger?
I think so.
Yep. I mean, in the comics too, she's like part of the Avengers. So yeah, and I mean, they just introduced her. I don't think they're gonna, just throw her away and not put her in the Avengers.
Yeah, I think it has to be an Avengers. You can't do an Avengers movie and not have Captain Marvel show up. That'd be really odd. Yeah, she's gotta be.
Yeah,
gotta be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. The Jackal goes, overall a positive, like a few thoughts, because a few people just gave their opinions of it. Overall a positive addition to the MCU, or one that could prove problematic through the years. Basically, do you think Carol Danvers is a natural fit in the MCU family? So do you think her as a character fits in the MCU well?
Yeah, I think so. I think she's a bit standout, but I think that once she integrates herself, I think after Endgame she'll fit in. I think we need to see her interact with the Captain America and everyone else, the other ones, and I think then she'll become a proper part of the MCU. I think for now she still feels a bit disconnected.
But it would be awesome just seeing her too with like Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, since they have like magic abilities as well. So it would just be really cool to see them interact. But we probably won't see it that much in Endgame, to be honest.
I think it'd be cool to see her flying with Iron Man, because they both have similar like styles of how they fight, like the flying and the shooting from the hands and shit. Seeing them both doing a similar thing, like flying with each other and like blowing shit up, that'd be pretty fucking cool.
And they have like she just flies super fast, then Iron Man can't go that fast, and he's just behind watching.
just shows how she can fuck with the males.
Oh yeah.
Because they're all so
Oh,
shit.
you mean the most sexist character in all the MCU, Tony Stark, that she just gets to make a fool out of? What an idiot he'll look like.
Oh, that's great. What's the next topic? Question?
The next one is from Space Mag. I personally felt the way they tried to tie everything together was a bit teensy, bit sloppy in a way. It just felt like they, at the end, was like, okay, Fury needs to get his eye fucked by a cat Flurkin scratch for some reason. Then he gets the Avengers name from the Avengers Initiative from Carol, etc. Did you feel the same way?
I mean, we talked about this. I don't feel. I get why you would feel that way, but I don't really myself. But I get it. I think that I don't think it's that they did it in a sloppy way. I think that they just decided to go, oh, we're doing a movie set before the others. Let's make it so that not everything, but a bunch of things that you know, let's explain all those in this movie, even if they maybe didn't need explaining. Like, the Avengers Initiative didn't need that. It didn't need that to be done. Like, but they did it anyway. So I guess, like, but I don't really care, to be honest. I think that it was fine.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
From Sean Dowling, it was pretty shit if I'm being honest. Really nice tribute to Stan Lee though at the intro. Thanks
Fair enough
for that, Sean.
Fair enough.
Brendan Abicul Overlord said, "I loved the movie, and it's official that Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, is my future wife now." Now that that's out of the way, what did you all think of the soundtrack?
Lackluster, forgettable.
Yeah, definitely forgettable. I had no opinion on it whatsoever.
The best part was the Avengers theme.
Yeah,
the Avengers theme.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's on the soundtrack. Yeah, I thought when it played some of, I guess, what was her theme, was pretty good. If I heard that in a future movie, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. It's the Captain Marvel theme. But it wasn't.
I have no memory. I have
amazing.
zero memory.
No,
you can
I
play
know
it for me
what
right now and be like, do you know what this piece of music is from? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never heard that in my entire life.
If I heard it, I'd know it, but I can't remember it right now. But it wasn't like a Spider-Man Homecoming where I thought the soundtrack was really good. It was it was like a Doctor Strange, like not really anything. Just it sort of blurs together action music. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess so. Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. Jewelcom. Have you guys heard of the Alita Challenge? So people who have seen Captain Marvel and thought it was shit have been trending the hashtag because the movie Alita Battle Angel was a better movie with a female lead and without the feminist bullshit around it. There were other issues with Brie Larson was promoting a charity event for young girls to go see Captain Marvel. This charity event made her and Marvel money. Versus what Alita did, where they got a girl who was born without any arms and made her bionic arms as at a testimony to Alita's robot body. They did this and made the arms out of their own pockets and are rolling it out commercially when they get the green light from this first girl so she can confirm that they work well. Plus, there's the actor in each of the movies where Brie Larson is extremely unlikable while all the people behind Alita are passionate about the movie and genuine. Well, this is all fucking opinion based, isn't it? Because of how bad Captain Marvel is, it's shone a light on Alita because it's actually a good female-led film. I personally haven't seen Alita, but I'm definitely going to. Friends have told me it was well done, and my opinion on Captain Marvel is well. Other than Goss the cat, I don't care for anything in that movie that was newly introduced. The only part of it was stuff that already exists in the MCU. Go watch Alita. I guess so. We all like the movie.
Why are you endorsing a movie you haven't seen, all based on politics?
Because he doesn't like feminist bullshit, apparently.
Which is fair, but like you just sound a bit crazy. You sound as crazy as the people that you're mad at. To be honest, you're saying go see this movie and not this movie based purely on politics. I haven't seen it, but go do this, guys. It does sound a bit mental, and also I don't care about that movie. It's like an anime remake thing, and it looks really shit. But
yeah, I'm not seeing it. Yeah, of course.
The thing is, though,
and we all liked Captain Marvel here. Like, none of us are on the same page as lots of these people here that are crying about the movie.
I mean, I liked Alita, but I mean, you can see both. There's like nothing like stopping you. They're both good movies. They both offer something unique.
Yeah, I thought Alita looked. I mean, every trailer I saw, I thought it looked fucking terrible. But I have seen a lot of people saying, actually, the trailers don't really do it justice. It's actually good. So maybe I will actually go and see the movie. Because there's a couple of channels that I watch that I respect for reviewing things, and I was like, oh, they think it's good. Maybe I'll go see it then, because I expect
it's a good movie.
Terrible, so I might go and see it. But also, I just fuck this politics bullshit. Like, I feel like that should just stay out of movies. To be honest, I don't care about that. If I go and see a movie, I'm never gonna bring politics unless I need to talk about it for like these podcasts. I'm not gonna let that affect whether I do or don't see a movie, or whether I like or dislike a movie. Although there was so much feminist bullshit around fucking Captain Marvel, I don't really care. That's not going to affect the way I talk about the movie itself, which was a pretty good MCU movie, I think, personally.
Yeah,
but
it's like there's 21 MCU movies. It's not in the top 10 for me.
Yeah, probably.
It's not top 10.
No.
It's not top 10.
No, I doubt it.
It's like 13, 14 around. Still great. I still really enjoyed it. I'm going to watch it again. I'm sure I'll watch it many times over the years as I rewatch all the MCU movies.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's no like actual like terrible Marvel movie. They're all enjoyable. Like, it's not a bad movie.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. So that's us. That's us anyway. Prudhvi Muvva has some thoughts. Maybe in the minority with this movie, but I really enjoyed it. I had fun. I would say it was as good as Black Panther Wonder Woman. I liked the scroll twist, although they suddenly become... Well, he liked it as much as like a Black Panther Wonder Woman level movie. Like,
but they're not the same level, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think Black Panther. Well, actually, I don't agree. I haven't seen Wonder Woman, and I'm never going to see Wonder Woman because I don't like DC.
I have.
Wonder Woman.
I have and can confirm it's not as good as Black Panther.
Yeah, Black Panther's also, I think, significantly better than this movie. If you're asking me, I like the scroll. That's actually a soundtrack. I remember a soundtrack from Black Panther even still now. That is an amazing soundtrack.
Very good.
I like the scroll twist, although they suddenly become beastly to comedy guys. I think her character is similar to Captain America. How dare you? At least before powers. In that way, she's trying to do good despite being told, nah, you are shit. Not really at all.
I don't think it's
totally wrong.
No.
Totally missed the mark there. Obviously, you're allowed your opinion. And you're allowed to be wrong. That's cool. You're all allowed those things, which you are. Obviously, Steve is much better. Correct. Thank you. You're saving yourself here. Because he had a lot more time to develop. Not necessarily just better in general.
He was far better in his first movie.
Yeah, and we see him falling, being weak. Exactly. We see him actually being weak and learning from his mistakes and actually having a character arc. I'm like, I don't have to prove anything to you, man, white man. I hope they don't sideline the OG Avengers and make her the lead in Endgame, but Marvel have their shit together, so they won't do that. I'm sure they will do that, but in a balanced way. I still think it's going to be Steve and Tony the main two of this focus of this movie. Definitely. And if they're not, I'll be pissed.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean...
I don't really know. Yeah, there's nothing we can really say. That was just his opinion.
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's what this whole thing is about, to get other people's Patreon views and see what they thought of the movie. A lot of crybabies so far, in my opinion. But, you know, that's cool. That's cool. Furious Coco says, so the criticism that's bound to pop up now with the film as the female lead is she a Mary Sue? And I wondered what your thoughts on it were. I would lean towards no myself, whilst the ending felt like a bit of a power fantasy where she is in very little danger. It didn't feel unearned, and so I'm perfectly fine with it. So I think he's talking about like the Superman-esque, is she too overpowered?
Is she always? Is she like, yeah? Does she have no flaws? Is she flawless? Which I don't think so, no. I think it's the whole point of the movie. She's got a lot of character flaws, isn't it?
Not really power flaws. She's pretty like OP powerful, but again, I think she had character flaws that didn't really fully come around at the end of it all.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing. I think with a character as powerful as Captain Marvel, it's the same thing you have to do with Superman. You can't have the weaknesses just be, you know, physical. They have to really, all of the weaknesses come from writing. I think when you're doing a character like Captain Marvel or Superman that are so fucking powerful they just can't die, is like it's got to be like an internal conflict, which I think will be interesting to see how they tackle that in a sequel. Will they go for, oh, it's just someone that's so powerful that can knock her down, or are they going to go for, you know, someone that can mess with her head, or like she's not as confident in herself, or like, you know, trying to, you know, play with that, because the thing with Superman is he's such a good person, and so it's always that moral dilemma of trying to save people, and, you know, people getting, like, him accidentally, like, you know, causing destruction, and, you know, all of this stuff. So it'd be interesting to see how they do with how they do that with Captain Marvel, to stop her from becoming like this, this perfect character that always saves everyone, is always perfect and never has any flaws. So that'd be interesting to see, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. And you just the villain's significantly important to that as well.
Yeah,
just that's probably a key to it. I wouldn't even mind seeing if you did one in between. Why? Oh no, maybe not. Maybe that's a bit too much to have. Like when Loki's off doing his own thing, he could somehow have been cross paths with her and be a villain in her story.
That never came up ever.
Well, why would it come up?
I don't know.
When would it come up? Over dinner. They just having dinner. He's like, oh, so I met this pretty powerful woman one time.
I just think
you won't believe it.
I just don't like when they I don't want timelines and characters to overlap too much. I think that's when it gets confusing and weird. Because then when you're watching like Avengers, you're like, Loki met Captain Marvel. That happened at some point. That's really strange. Just like, it's just weird. Just like a weird thing in the back of my mind that would just be put me off, because I'm like, weird.
Yeah,
Odd.
sure. Yeah. I'm just saying, like,
they could do it. I don't think they should, but they could.
I think it should be, I don't know. I think Ronan has to be a part of this sequel if they do one, just based on
in Guardians.
Like how he was introduced, but like how, and he says he's like, we'll be back for the engine, no, for the girl. That's what he says.
Yeah, true.
But then it's like, well, Ronan doesn't die.
No, so how do you do that?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I really don't know.
I don't know as well.
So people have been saying like this movie's gonna fail, and Brett's brought up the box office. So I have been interested to see this. They're like, is Feminist gonna fail?
It's doing well, isn't it? It's like 450 something.
Yep.
Domestic 150, opening weekend estimated. That's huge. That's huge. If it did over 100, that's solid. 150 is a great opener. Worldwide opening 455 million. That's fucking massive.
It's almost $500 million in a few days.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
No, anyone talking shit about this not doing well,
Captain Marvel flopped.
Yeah.
Was like Jesus. A flop?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
The last one from Patreon, last thought, is from Jiminy. I think it's stuff we've already covered, but it's a bit long, so I'm not sure. This might be a bit too late, but I was curious to know what your thoughts were on Captain Marvel's character specifically. I honestly thought she was a bit boring and overall poorly handled, with what her trying to be funny character, taking nothing seriously, cracking jokes left and right, and 1 second, and then being super stoic and serious character the next. She seemed less boring to me when she was with Nick, and they made a good duo. All fair criticisms, I think. For that reason, I thought it had a bit of a rough start, because it just left her and other bland space people without Nick to work off of. She also seemed to lack the kind of charisma other Marvel characters have, but this could just have been because it was her first movie and she needs to get used to her character first, much like how Scarlet with Black Widow needed to use Iron Man 2 to warm up before she could stand out, which she does in the Avengers. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because that makes sense. I probably agree for the most part.
Yeah, we talked about it. Like the movie at the start, her character some of the jokes don't land, and then once she gets paired up with Sam Jackson, she has better chemistry with him, and then again, Maria too.
Yeah, so, I think that most Marvel movies with the first ones it's a bit tough with their character arcs, I think, with character development, like going from starting one way and ending another way. I think the only two that really do it pretty well is Iron Man and Captain America, the first Captain America. I don't think many of the other Marvel movies really do that super well. Thor is like fine, I guess. It's just sort of like a basic story. But I think Captain Marvel suffers from that as well. It's just she's sort of flip-flopping all over the place. It's like, we already know she's a hero. Just fucking fuck it. Just make her a hero. Like, it's almost like they've been like, we don't really care about her character arc. Like, she starts off and she's making jokes. She's also still making jokes at the end. There's points where all of a sudden she's like, oh, I'm really fucking cool and I'm serious. And then she's just like that all the way through. There really isn't a development. Like, she doesn't start one way and end another way. She's the same the whole time. And it's not necessarily a bad same. It's also not necessarily an amazing same, but she's the same, and that's just sort of her character. arcs are always better, and I think that probably is a criticism, but you know, that's something I guess they'll do in sequels, because you have so much to do in origin stories where you got to focus on everything. I think it's, you know, I think Iron Man and Captain America are probably the exceptions there, where the character arc's done pretty well, pretty great.
I totally agree. But I think overall we all like the movie. It's not the
definitely.
top MCU film, but it was a great addition. And would you say the perfect sort of appetizer to Endgame?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. It makes me more excited, especially, again, to see her character and what she does in the movie.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the main thing to take away of how good really was Captain Marvel. Are you excited to see her specifically in Endgame, not just Endgame itself?
Yeah. I mean, if she wasn't in it, I wouldn't care. Really,
I mean, I'm sure you would. I mean, overall, of course, it's not like you're not going to see Endgame because she's not in it. I'm just meaning, like,
am I looking
seeing
forward
the
to
movie,
her?
are you like, oh yeah, that'll be cool to see her in Endgame?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I'm not like, oh, I hope she's not in it for long because I don't like her, so don't let her ruin the movie. It's like, she'll be a good addition to Endgame, so I'm looking forward to see her. Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Great. Anything else? Last thoughts about Captain Marvel, guys?
As a white male, I enjoyed the movie.
That's disgusting.
I'm glad
you would say that.
I would like to acknowledge my white, straight, cis privilege.
Yeah, of course.
Before with my opinions on this movie, so so you don't actually have to take them seriously, or even listen to them at all. In fact, don't listen to this podcast.
No.
Even though you're at the end already, it's already done.
Exactly.
You know, don't listen to us.
Just a group of white men talking about a woman's movie. So.
Yeah, this isn't for us. This isn't our movie. We don't deserve it. Shouldn't have seen it. I feel bad for seeing it. I apologize.
Yeah.
I'd like to publicly apologize
Guilty.
for seeing the movie.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh god. Okay, right. We got anything else to say before we wrap this cunt up? What the fuck did I say that for? Great way to go out.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's just wrap this motherfucker up. All right, let's fucking do this.
Right,
Jesus Christ, so aggressive.
Jesus,
so
okay.
aggressive. How would you? I
Thanks.
can't believe you said that word in a movie
Yeah,
about a woman. You son of a bitch.
I was gonna say before we wrap this bitch up, and then I was like, oh no, I won't say that, and then my brain jumped to cunt, and I just said it.
I love it.
Oh god. Okay. Well, thanks everybody so much for listening to this episode of the Cinema Room. If you're listening on Patreon, thank you so much for supporting us. If you're listening on YouTube, you could have got this a week earlier, like you do with every episode of the Cinema Room podcast. You get them a week early, so that's just $1 over on patreon.com/as always to support both myself and Tyler and get access to the Cinema Room a week early, as well as Clubhouse every week. The Kill Connor Club isn't on, as well as any other early access material and other things that happen. There's plenty of things, a lot of things, and it's just $1 or more. To thank our Patreon producers here, we've got King Richard III, Ikraik, Seth, and Josh Devillier. And then to thank everybody, again, we've got King Richard III, Ikraik, Seth, Ballsack47, Josh Devillier, Damian, Billy the Team Tynamite Captain Robertson, Tman or Travis, Casey Wood, Tony the Tarbiter's Pasty Denis, Adam Sundling, Alfie Rowsell, Jamie the Gamer, Smexy Dork, Lumistrad, Mary for 380, Hook Still Holds Up, Viridian, Pink Flame 313, Aaron Wynn, Ollie The Dane, Fuck Cuck, Nawaf M, Brendan BQ Overlord, Ravjai, Julie, Prudhvi Muvva, Oscar, Benedict Parker Returns, Jameson Ladd, Connor Durose Bully in the Alley, Zahir, Gene, Zeke Collins, Son of a Bitch Ogeaidogo, Lauren Ford, Dammit Glenn, Furious Coco, the ACMJS, Delta R. Rodriguez, Kyle, S. Jaws, Kyle Marvel, Marcus Blackburn, Emil Katborg, Joshua Mora, David Bindis, Ginko Swag, Kemo Sabe Gamer, Yazen, Joe the Sexy Boi Smith, Elster91, Joe A.K.A FoundedScarab, HBots12, I Got Lumbago, The Real Jawraptor, Omar Karasagi, Alfie Robert, Brian Ford, Shields, Fishy, Andrew Martinez, and Lewis the Gamer McLean. Thank you all so much for your continued support over here on patreon.com/as always. And thank you to everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed Captain Marvel. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time, no matter where you're listening to this on. 2 weeks' time on As Always, and 2 weeks' time on YouTube. And obviously, if you want YouTube a week early, then just if you're listening on YouTube and you want the next one a week early, pledge and you'll get it in a week, rather than 2 weeks. Where we'll be doing another thing.
The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight is the other thing.
Knight. Yeah, it was a Patreon vote. The next one will be the Patreon voted poll
There you go. That's
movie.
it.
And it was a Christopher Nolan film, and so, I mean, The Dark Knight's winning. So, and I'm pretty sure that there's everyone that can vote has voted. So, yeah, it'll be The Dark Knight.
Great, cool. All right, we'll see you next time with The Dark Knight. Thank you, Brett, for joining us. It's been good. As
first ever guest on the Cinema Room.
Yeah, as always, it's been a pleasure. I love both of you.
I love you too.
And we love you. We love you.
And there we go. That's that. All right.
Yep. All right. So
see you later, film connoisseurs.
Thank you again for listening. See ya next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.